I basically do it every time I stop playing drums. I turn into more of a knobhead than I normally am. Which basically means that I've got nothing to focus on. I'm quite a destructive person in the way I am anyway, and I need something to focus on. I need something to focus on completely in life, or something that takes my mind off the monotony and boredom and shit that goes on in life, and drums has always been that thing for me. When I was younger it was other stuff, but as soon as I found the drums, I found something that I could beat the living crap out of, wouldn't phone the police on me, wouldn't bleed. You know, it was just like, it was my punch bag, but my security blanket at the same time. It was nice, like a shield that I can smack the crap out of, and it's cool. I love it.
It was tough because I like being in a band. It gives me an outlet. It gives me a break from the boring shit that you have with work and stuff like that. So basically what I did, I set myself up a little studio at home, bought various bits of equipment so I could write my own music, and then every time I was feeling the urge to work on some music, I'd disappear into there and work on my own songs. I probably had, I don't know, 10 songs written and recorded, and it was going alright, but there was always something missing. There was always that kind of camaraderie and that spirit that you miss when you kind of do music on your own rather than being in a band. So it was always kind of like, you know, I was doing it, but it was kind of more of a hobby just when I did it in my spare time, really.
It's tough, we're all kind of, I mean, I read a write-up recently saying we're all kind of like pretty much slaves to working that 40-hour week, you know what I mean? And we get caught up in that trap, you know, we work, we go home, work, sleep, same old rubbish, you know, you watch crap television overnight, back to work again. It's like, we end up sacrificing things we love the most in the world, you know. I think anyone that's got a creative bone in their body should be out there doing it, kind of living it. Don't sacrifice those things.
It's funny really because me and Paulie, so after I was writing all my songs, I started showing them to people, and I showed Paulie some of them and he liked some of them, so we'd kind of planned and we talked about kind of working on some together, maybe as a two-piece or maybe involving someone else, but when you get to our age, there's not that many people you know that are in bands and stuff, so we struggled to think of anyone who could play guitar for us, who could commit themselves. So basically, we were talking about that, and then one day, just when we were starting to kind of make proper plans and getting the equipment that we need and stuff like that, I think Wes got in touch with Paulie, and they kind of started talking about it, and then basically Wes suggested that we start the band back up.
I personally was getting a bit eager to, I mean, I'd done maybe 1 or 2 shows on my own, just little acoustic things, just because I think I'd had a bug to play a bit of music again. So I think I personally was getting a bit eager to do something anyway. And then I think I got wind that Paulie and Andy were looking to do something, even if it meant just them doing something on their own, even as a two-piece or whatever else. So I thought it was a prime opportunity. Everything seemed to just come together at the right time, and I think I spoke to Paulie, and it was an obvious thing to just even suggest and say, is it worth, let's just try and put it back together, but let's do it the right way, let's be clever about it, you know, we've all got families, we've all got things that we have to do in life, but let's be selective with the shows we do. Just be a bit more, you know, we're sensible, we've done this for long enough to know how to go about it, you know what I mean?
It was a no-brainer really. It was something that probably was going to happen anyway, even when we split up before. It was only ever really just kind of put on hold more than splitting up. So yeah, it was something that we all needed to do really.
First rehearsals back, I think we surprised ourselves actually. We went in there expecting to start again completely from fresh. I'd been doing a little bit of practicing on a pad anyway, just to kind of loosen up a little bit. I think the lads had as well, because we went back in there thinking that it would just be absolutely diabolical, and it weren't as bad as we thought.
kind of blasted through the old songs really quick and kind of remembered those. And that was fun, and we concentrated on getting that done first, so playing all the songs that we knew. Some of them were easier than others.
I don't know if anything different as such, other than the fact that, you know, even in our first meetings, putting the band back together, is that we were going to be more sort of smart about things and the shows that we wanted to do, and not, you know, 'cause it's just not always easy just rehearsing week in, week out to do certain shows that, you know, with there won't be nobody at. But I think if we pick our shows wisely, you know, we've got that about us now, you know, we're quite able to do that. So I don't think it's changed as much other than our mentality towards it and how we go about what we do.
I think we're planning things a little bit more this time, instead of having a slapdash kind of attitude towards everything. We're just planning everything because we know that we have to do it around our jobs, and we have to you know, plan gigs around what suits us. I think before we were too keen to just accept any gigs that were offered to us, whereas now we're doing what we want, we're playing where we want to play. It can get a bit stressful, like, you know, when we've all got full-time jobs and stuff, having to sell tickets all the time and that kind of thing, which I know is part and parcel of being in a band. But I think that's half of what our kind of arguments come from, really.
I warm up now, don't get the muscle aches for the next day and stuff like that, and I think that as we're getting a little bit older, we're realising now that you can't just go in there, smack the crap out of stuff and expect to walk away from it scot-free. So we're basically now spending a little bit more time getting warmed up, doing the songs properly, but we've got quite high standards when it comes to the songs. So we want them to sound right, we know how they should sound. We could possibly go to gigs, you know, at 50% and people would say, oh yeah, you're pretty good, but we know we're better than that, so we practice as hard as we can.
The old chemistry was much the same, you know. You get back to that, I think, you know, there was no sort of worries about that. The same old banter, the same old laughs, the same old, you know, way of working, but in a good way, you know what I mean? I don't know, the negativity had gone, you know what I mean? Maybe it was renewed freshness of coming back to something that we all loved, you know.
Okay, so first we're going to do Sebastian Bach's first overture.
Yes.
And then we're going to do Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini by Timmy Mallet. Is that okay? Have you learned that one?
Yes, that's great.
That was your homework last week. Have you learned it?
Yes, I've learned it.
Great, okay. Perfect.
The new songs came about really natural. We weren't really planning on coming up with new stuff so soon, I guess. And although I had a lot of material written, we kind of toyed around with those, but it just weren't working. So everything we've got 3 brand new songs, and all of them came about really organically, really, just by someone had a riff, and then we all played off that, and then before we knew it, at the end of the rehearsal, we had the basics for a song. And that's a real kind of satisfying way to work, because, you know, you can just, it comes about organically, and before you know it, you've got new songs. And they're all quite energetic as well. I think towards the end last time, it was kind of, we were getting towards having too many slow songs and too many that kind of thing, and I think we're getting back to what Million Empire was originally about, and kind of having that kind of dynamics and that kind of light and shade.
The new songs I particularly like, and I know this isn't Andy's favourite, I particularly like Fear of 13, just because it shorts through at such a speed. It's got a couple of breaks in it. There's nothing dark, mystical, weird, twisted, prog or anything about it. It's just a fucking good song, and that's it straight through, and I love that about it, because the speed and tempo is there the whole time through, so that's my favourite so far, but the other ones are really good as well.
Surprisingly, you know, like, you know, the short time that we've been rehearsing before the show, we've already sort of written 3 new songs, which potentially will, like, be on a new EP that we could hopefully put together soon. So to say that the first 3 songs we've written are, you know, good enough to make an EP, that says something positive for me, that we're already going in a good direction.
We did a gig for a motorcycle club called the Spitfire MCC. They're a charter group of the Outlaws motorcycle group, and I know the Sergeant at Arms in the group, and he's always liked the band. He's got every CD. He's liked previous bands as well. One of my other mates told him that Paulie's band's kicking back into life again. And as soon as he heard that was it straight away. It was basically, can you come and do this gig for us?
It was a week before we were due to play our comeback gig, and we needed a kind of warm up. It's always good to do a warm up, and it was no pressure because they already had, guaranteed audience, and it was a good way for us to test out our new songs and rehearse the old ones as well.
Bikers, music, it all goes hand in hand, and it was good to get back on the stage. It felt great. We made our mistakes. We knew we would, but the vibe weren't quite there in the room to where we would have liked it. But all the same, I still walked away feeling like I enjoyed it, and I knew that it was we were getting back into this, and it was the right thing to do.
It was a bit weird because it was in like a carvery style pub, so we were kind of playing our first song whilst people eating their gammon and chips or whatever.
What do you reckon, Paulie?
Oh, it's warm.
Now, what about the carvery?
Oh, it's lovely, yeah. Especially like the Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah.
We always end up talking about Yorkshire puddings. What do you reckon, Wiz? What are you saying?
Oh, that, mate.
Not a lot.
Yeah, mate. I don't talk much.
You looking forward to carvery?
Yes. Salted beef.
I'm looking forward to Yorkshire puddings, definitely.
The first gig, you're never ready to play it because no matter how much you can practice for a year, that first gig comes along. It throws. I always say it's very much like boxing or football. You can train as much as you want, but until you're in a boxing ring and someone else is hitting you in the face, or you're on a football pitch and you're running around like a loony, that first gig is not a practice. In a practice, you can stop a song halfway through. You can go for a drink or a cigarette or whatever, but with a gig, the show must go on. As old Freddie Mercury said, you've got to just carry on. Drop a drumstick, snap a drumstick, doesn't fucking matter, carry on. Guitar string breaks or bass string breaks, you've got to carry on. It's that simple. You can't just stop a song halfway through, so you're never prepared for it. And I think it's one of them where you've got to have the gig to realise you weren't prepared for it, make yourself better for the next gig, and then, to be honest with you, when you're 6 or 7 shows in, I think then you get into 90-95% of what the band potential is.
I always feel ready though. I whether I am or I'm not, I'll have 2 rehearsals and I think I'm ready because that's the way I am. I guess I've got that kind of punk attitude of just like, if you can play it, fuck it, let's just do it. Paulie's normally more kind of, he likes to be more rehearsed, so does Wes, I guess. Which is probably the right thing to do, but I'm just too impatient, that kind of thing. But so I felt ready, yeah, and it was, and I think we did pretty well. There was a couple of bits where we kind of made mistakes and stuff, but it was our first gig in 2 years, so it's bound to happen. We've just done our first gig in two years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in one word, how did it go?
Okay.
Yeah, in one word, how did it go?
Do we have to be positive?
No. One word, how did it go?
It was all right.
One word, how did it go?
No, if you'd have asked me,
all right.
no, if you'd have asked me the first set,
we were great.
First set, the mistakes came out that we knew were going to come out. Second set, I think we kicked ass.
One word, thumb. Hurt me thumb. But yeah, it was good to back. Fucking tell them cars to shut the fuck up, man.
What happened to you, then?
Yeah, no, it was alright. We enjoyed it anyway, didn't we? But it was just a bit rusty, few technical difficulties, that kind of thing, and yeah, no, it was. I think the new ones went probably the best actually.
So we've been practicing them harder.
Probably is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's probably it, man.
Please actually sounded really, really good.
Yeah. No, I think
It's the throat sweet.
it's just the newer songs are a certain speed and stuff. We've been practicing them quite heavily, whereas the other songs we're just like, oh yeah, we know how to do them, and
we don't.
yeah, that shit comes out on stage.
So yeah, but it was good to blow the dust off anyway.
Yeah.
When we got back together, we decided that we'd need a comeback show for a couple of reasons. First was to kind of get everyone who hadn't seen us for a couple of years, because we hadn't been playing for a couple of years, back out to a show. Right, come and see us, it's our comeback show, you need to come and see this.
We wanted to do a gig on our terms. We wanted to not have to deal with promoters for this particular one. Promoters are fine, don't get me wrong, and there's certain ones that do a really good job. But for this particular one, we wanted to basically do it completely on our own terms.
The location was ideal. We knew we had an insider in there anyway. So the location was ideal because it was close for everyone to get to who we knew. It's close for people who want to come and see you but you don't know to get to because it's on a prime route. It just made sense. It just made sense to do it, you know, closer to home rather than in town, where you could go in on any Friday or Saturday night into Birmingham City Centre and you could watch 20 or 30 bands play. And the choice is phenomenal. You know, that's the problem with Birmingham City Centre a lot of the time, is you go into Birmingham City Centre, and if you're not there to see any particular band, you can go and watch probably 30, 40 bands play easily. You know, Selly Oak, it's a small place. We're probably the only band that we're going to be playing that night, or the people that were playing on the gig with us that night. It just made sense to everything pointed towards doing it at the Bristol Pair.
We really enjoyed it actually. Although we had the biker gig the week before that, this one it felt like we were truly kind of back in the game really. We played all the songs that we wanted to play, including 3 new ones, which all seemed to go down pretty well, apart from a few mistakes on my part. I'm a bit of a div with that kind of thing. But other than that, I think it went really well. The place was packed, which was good. It's good to see all that planning all come good, really. And we really enjoyed it. It's just great it just seemed like we had that good mix of kind of energy and tightness with the music. It can get tighter, and it will, because that was only our second gig back, and you only really get that tightness when you're doing gig after gig after gig. But that'll come.
When I go to a gig, I know I've done my job and the band's done its job when you see a person tapping their foot or nodding their head or turning around to their mate and you know, going, oh, these are really good, or people coming up to you after the gig and saying I really enjoyed it. And as long as we're getting that at the end of gigs, whilst I can still do it, I'll still do it, and I'm sure the band will still do it as long as we can still do it. So
my feet on the ground.
think once you get into music, I don't think you need much motivation other than the fact that the love of doing it. As cheesy as it sounds, for any musician, you know, it'll always be there. Even if you give it up, you know, you still have that little thing in you that you think, nah, I shouldn't have done that, you know. So I don't really think we need much to kind of keep us going. It's just keep on trucking, you know. Some people have a small-minded mentality about bands, and you reach a certain age, or you haven't signed a record deal, or you're not going to make it. It's like, well, what's that got to do with anything? You know what I mean? So we could play to a room of 100 people. To me, that I've already made it. You know what I mean? As long as we're out there and playing music to people, recording, doing things we love, that's all that matters.
What else do? You know, do you just give up and work in a job, you know, that doesn't satisfy you completely, and then come home and watch Dinner Date every night whilst eating shepherd's pie?
Keep coming to shows. You've got to keep music live, because if you don't, it'll just die out, and then you'll be sitting in your house listening to CDs, and that's it. I don't like a lot of the music these days because it's manufactured to shit, and it really winds me up. And you know, I went and seen a couple of famous people in the past, and they've all said, go and start a band, because this was like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Start a band, because otherwise we're going to be overrun with auto-tuned fucking idiots everywhere who can't sing, can't play an instrument, you know. We all need to just keep plugging away. You know, the John Bonhams of the world and the Jimi Hendrixes of the world, we're turning their fucking graves the way the music scene's going recently. And you could probably count on one hand bands that are actually relevant and good and can play instruments. The word band is very, very loosely termed for more than two people as well these days. Can't play a bloody instrument, but they're called a girl band or a boy band. Ridiculous. Needs to stop. Simon Cowell, you're a prat. Other than that, yeah, just want to keep playing.
Bliss in my heart, don't get me started.